Patriots fans, lock in, because this feels like a real warning siren going off in Foxborough. This is not just another offseason, this is not random movement, and this is definitely not empty noise. When you stack Vrabel demanding more consistency in the run game, the possibility of a major arrival that could change the entire ceiling of the offense, the draft signals on defense, and even a veteran name still floating out there on the market, the message starts flashing bright. New England might be building a tougher, meaner, far more dangerous team than a lot of people want to admit. So jump in the comments right now and tell me this. Are you feeling like the Patriots are finally ready to make a real leap, or are they still one missing piece away? The main wound for the Patriots right now is not a lack of pretty numbers. It is a lack of control. And that changes everything. When Mike Vrabel says publicly that he wants a more consistent run game, he is not talking about some tiny detail. He is pointing straight at a structural weakness in the offense. Because on paper, New England actually ran the ball well in 2025. High volume, strong yardage totals, plenty of touchdowns. But once you dig deeper, the picture gets a lot uglier. The efficiency per run was low, the success rate was low too, and that explains exactly what fans watched on the field. A rushing attack that could pop a big one here and there, but could not keep the engine humming when the game got tight. And that is where this gets dangerous. A team can live off explosive plays for a while. It cannot survive off inconsistency when the lights get brightest. Vrabel basically spelled that out when he said there were too many moments when the Patriots wanted to run the ball and simply could not do it efficiently. That is not just a stat sheet issue. That is offensive identity breaking down. That is your quarterback getting exposed. That is your play action losing its teeth. That is the opposing defense realizing that if it holds up early, the whole attack starts playing from a place of discomfort. That is why the offseason moves make sense as part of a bigger blueprint. Bringing in Elijah Vera Tucker, fullback Reggie Gilliam, and tight end Julian Hill does not feel like roster decoration. It feels like a course correction. It feels like a real attempt to give this offense more muscle, more structure, and more control, so it can function like a true machine instead of a string of flashes. And that matters big time for Stevenson and Henderson, because those two can absolutely be a dangerous duo. But no backfield carries itself when the structure around it cracks at the worst possible moment. And there is another layer here that should bother every Patriots fan. In the Super Bowl, New England felt exactly what it costs when you cannot keep the ground game alive. Once the team had to lean too heavily on dropbacks, the protection started shaking, the rhythm changed, the pass rush got louder, and the offense lost a piece of its soul. That kind of scar can push an aggressive franchise into making bigger, bolder decisions, because if this foundation does not get fixed now, everything else gets harder. And that is exactly why the next opportunity starts feeling a whole lot heavier. And because that foundation still needs to get stronger, the market opportunity starts looking way too real to ignore. It is one thing to recognize the wound. It is another thing entirely to realize there might be a real window to speed up the healing process. And for the Patriots, the name that takes this conversation into a different stratosphere is A.J. Brown. Now let's keep this honest. There is no confirmed trade. What we do have is something that absolutely matters. Mike Sando of The Athletic reported that NFL executives believe New England could acquire A.J. Brown in June, when the Eagles' cap situation becomes more manageable. That is not an official announcement. It is not a completed negotiation, but it is also not random fan fiction floating around online. That is league-level market reading from people who live inside this machine. And when that kind of smoke starts curling into the air, Foxborough has every reason to pay attention. The context makes it even juicier. The Patriots already made a move by signing Romeo Doubs to a 4-year, $68 million deal to give Drake May another weapon. But that signing did not shut down the conversation. If anything, it poured gasoline on it. Some of the execs quoted were not sold on the value and questioned what Doubs really adds on the field. In plain English, New England moved, but they may not be done. And that changes the whole read, because if the front office believes the offense still needs a true alpha presence to unlock its ceiling, then bringing in Brown stops feeling like a luxury and starts looking like a direct answer to the pressure this team is under. And on the field, the fit is easy to see. Brown is coming off another 1,000-yard season with 78 catches and 7 touchdowns. He is the kind of receiver who bends coverage, wins with power, commands attention, and changes the geometry of the offense before the ball is even snapped. For a team trying to make life easier on its quarterback, protect the offensive system, and punish defenses that crowd the box, that kind of target does not just help. That kind of target can rewire the entire attack. Now yes, there is a brake pedal here too. One of the executives quoted sees Brown as a declining player over the last few seasons. So no, you cannot sell this as some flawless magic button move with zero downside. But that is not even the main point. The main point is, the market may be cracking open on a chance that used to feel way out of reach. And if New England really believes it is close to turning the corner, then the question is no longer whether A.J. Brown would help. The real question is this: will the Patriots have the guts to strike while the door is still open? But if the offensive conversation is already loud, the defense is screaming for an answer too, and not one that plays it safe. And now the scale shifts, because the name entering the picture is not showing up as a hot trade rumor or an imminent signing. He is showing up as a draft projection, as a fit-based read, but with enough weight to shake the identity of this front seven: McDonald. Again, let's not blur the line. What exists here is a projection from NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah, who mocked McDonald to the Patriots at pick 31. That is not inside reporting saying the pick is locked in. It is an educated projection from a respected voice that lines up with a very real need on the roster. And once you look at the context, the connection starts to hum. New England lost Khyiris Tonga in free agency, struggled badly to hold up against the run in the Super Bowl, and clearly needs to get heavier, nastier, and more reliable on the interior. What makes McDonald so intriguing is that he is not just a giant body taking up space. At 6'2" and 326 pounds, he has been described as a rare talent, almost impossible to move off his spot, with the kind of raw power that can bulldoze interior blockers and enough change of direction ability to avoid becoming a one-scheme-only player. That detail matters, because when a defensive tackle can anchor against the run and still throw the offense off its axis, he frees everyone else up. He gives names like Milton Williams and Christian Barmore more room to attack. He changes the physics of your defense. And there is one concrete signal that keeps this projection from feeling like pure fantasy. The Patriots brought McDonald in for a top 30 visit. That does not guarantee anything, but it absolutely puts him on the franchise's real radar. This is not imagination running wild. There is real process here, and that alone feeds a bigger read. New England might be looking not just to patch holes, but to build a defense with more presence, more violence, and fewer weak spots when the games get huge. Now, the honest break has to show up here too. The biggest front seven need may still be off the edge rather than in the middle. The outside pass rush still feels more urgent, especially with Harold Landry turning 30 and reportedly coming off knee surgery. So this possible McDonald connection opens up a real tension point. Do the Patriots prioritize interior strength, or do they chase explosion off the edge? Drop your answer in the comments right now. If you were in the draft room, are you taking the sledgehammer in the middle, or are you attacking edge rusher without even blinking? And this is where the story gets smarter, because while everybody is staring at the giant blockbuster possibility, there is a market detail sitting in the shadows that could say a lot about how the Patriots want to build this offense without tying themselves to only one path. The name is Deebo Samuel, and what gives this possibility juice is not the immediate headline, it is the contrast. Right now, the conversation around Foxborough feels like it is orbiting one flashy question: A.J. Brown or bust? But serious rosters are not built that way. Serious rosters are built by reading cost, timing, fit, and risk. That is exactly why Deebo's situation deserves attention. He is still unsigned after a month of free agency, and that alone changes the market read. A player with that kind of resume still being available at this stage is not a footnote. It is a pressure point. It is an opportunity that could get more reachable precisely because the clock keeps ticking. And again, let's stay honest. There is no concrete report saying Elliott Wolf is actively pushing for Deebo right now. What exists is outside analysis saying he should be on the Patriots' radar. Bleacher Report's Gary Davenport listed Samuel as one of the free agents who could help New England the most in 2026. So no, this is not a report of talks in motion. It is a fit-based read, but it is a read that absolutely lines up with a real offensive need. Because even at 30, Deebo still produced in 2025. He put up 72 catches, 727 yards, and 5 touchdowns in 16 games with Washington, often serving as a reliable target even in a messy quarterback situation. That matters. We are not just talking about a recognizable name. We are talking about a versatile, physical, creative weapon with the ball in his hands. Someone who can make life easier on a quarterback with quick gains, manufactured touches, and impact from different spots on the field. For an offense searching for consistency, that has immediate value. And there is another layer you cannot ignore: opportunity cost. If a trade for A.J. Brown would require giving up serious draft capital, Deebo becomes an alternate road to boost the unit without sacrificing major assets. Of course there is risk. The age matters more than it would in a long-term answer, and the move might not hit with the same thunderclap effect as a blockbuster trade. But real football is won on value decisions too. The loudest move is not always the smartest one. Sometimes the right move is the one that gives your entire plan more flexibility. And if the Patriots are truly thinking big, maybe the secret is not choosing star or nothing. Maybe it is attacking the market with both courage and vision. And when you step back, the whole picture starts coming into focus fast. Vrabel is demanding a more reliable ground game. The door could be opening for a true impact receiver. The draft offers a chance to harden the defense. And a veteran like Deebo sits there as a strategic pivot if the bigger market swing stalls out. All of it points to the same feeling in Foxborough. The Patriots do not look still, they look restless. And a restless team that knows exactly where it is bleeding can become dangerous in a hurry. So now the real question is not whether there is talent, a path, or an opportunity. There is. The real question is whether New England is going to turn these signals into a strong enough decision to truly change the level of this team. Because the potential is there, the pressure is there too. And when those two things collide, you either get liftoff or you get frustration. So sound off in the comments with no filter. What is the move that really pushes the Patriots to the next level? A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, a major defensive reinforcement, or the structural growth Vrabel is trying to build from the inside out?